Alright, what's up? Welcome back. We're gonna watch this Where Are the Mammoth Clones. If you hear baby music at the back, just it's the life of being a dad, bro. Where the fuck are the mammoth? Who's this by? Wild World. I think
Way back
I think it's one of those conspiracy channels.
in 2003,
Very
when I was a young
nice.
child, I was watching a show on Discovery Kids where a scientist would answer questions that kids sent in. I don't remember the exact question, but some kid asked about a mammoth found preserved in ice. And the scientist
We didn't watch that, but we watch a lot of Bill Nye the Science Guy here in Florida. So maybe why don't you guys watch that shit too? I don't think he ever talked about mammoths. He definitely talked about a lot about like science shit though. I don't know if I could like remember a lot of it from the top of my head. There was one video where he like does a it's like a hybrid car that can like go in the water and like out the water. I remember like seeing that shit and I was like, this is fucking insane. Whoa.
guy, I think he was a scientist, he was wearing a lab coat, talked about cloning a mammoth and how in a few years we might have mammoth clones. Well, it's been nearly 20 years, and
Not gonna lie, we did make the sheep, so I bet you they have made mammoths and then they were like, yeah, we don't have enough oxygen for this bitch to live. Like he'd be too little, you know? Like an actual mammoth will probably just wouldn't grow. Like it just wouldn't have enough rich oxygen to live in our times.
it's not like there was one offhand mention in the early 2000s followed by radio silence. I feel like the idea of cloning mammoths has always been around, and it comes up every few years. So my question is, what is the holdup here? Where are the mammoth clones?
Why do we want mammoth clones though? Like just to put that bitch
Yeah,
in
this
a
is what we
zoo?
want. Now, there are more than just a few species of mammoth. Research is constantly updating, but right now it seems like there are about 10 recognized species. They came in a variety of sizes, with the smallest being the dwarf mammoth, Mammothus creticus, that was from the Greek island of Crete, and was 1 meter tall and weighed 300 kilos. The largest
What
was
is
the
a
steppe
meter?
mammoth, that reached a height of up to 4.5 meters at the shoulder, with tusks extending as long as 4.9 meters, and probably weighed
How's that
somewhere
thing
between
5 times
10 to
bigger?
14 tons.
How's that make sense?
Putting that into context, an African bull elephant can grow up to 3.9 meters at the shoulder and weigh up to 7 tons. Despite the closeness in size, mammoths are actually more closely related to Asian elephants than African elephants. Moreover, Asian elephants and mammoths are more closely related than Asian elephants and African elephants. It's sort of an important point as Indian elephants will need to play a role in bringing mammoths back. So how do we bring them back? There are actually a few different ways. First is actual cloning, i.e., take the egg of a female elephant, take out the nucleus.
That isn't this just a hairless mammoth, you know? Like cuz it's like it's not as cold, right? So they're like, yeah, let's just shed all this hair out. And elephants, we just call them elephants, but they're actually unwoolly mammoths. Just call them hairless mammoths.
And replace it with the nucleus from a woolly mammoth, and then the calf would have the genes of a woolly mammoth. Researchers at the Kyoto University of Japan did plan on doing this, but to date we haven't found a viable mammoth cell. And apparently most scientists think that a cell wouldn't survive the frozen areas where we find the best preserved mammoths. So this might not be very promising. Another method might be AI, or artificial insemination. Take an egg and combine it with the sperm cell from a
Not
frozen
what I
woolly
was thinking
mammoth.
at all.
Then the elephant should give birth to a hybrid. If you make enough hybrids and breed them, after some generations you could get a mostly pure mammoth. Now, whether or not the embryo could survive the gestation period, which lasts 2 years, is unknown, but that's not the main problem. The big
Two
problem
years?
is
I
that
guess
after
elephants
deep
also have a long
freezing,
one.
sperm cells from mammals only last 15 years, so I guess that method has to be thrown out the window too. The third, and perhaps most promising method, is gene editing. Some teams are working on taking DNA from frozen mammoth carcasses and replacing the elephant genes with woolly mammoth genes. The resulting animal would still be more of an elephant, but with some mammoth traits, like long hair, small ears, extra fat, and warmer blood. Some have referred to the potential creature as a mammothant. One of the
So fucking stupid.
big names in this field is George M. Church. He's an American geneticist, molecular engineer, and chemist. In 2015, he and his team were able to copy some woolly mammoth genes into the genome of an Asian elephant. In September 2021,
This is like the beginning of Planet of the Apes, but our version, like we're keep predicting that apes are gonna like overpower us in brain power, and since they're like dumb strong, that they'll just overthrow the world. But this is this might be our Planet of the Apes, you know? Like a bunch of fucking mammoths just getting mad sentient and taking over the world, making it the mammoth world.
Church and his team launched a startup called Colossal. They raised 15 million in funds, and their mission is to bring back the woolly mammoth, or to make the mammothant, I guess. Now, 15 million is a lot of money, but is it enough to fund a big project like this? Well, according to Church, 15 million would likely be enough to produce an embryo. Getting to a calf will require more funds. He estimates that we could have a living specimen in a few years. Heard that before, pal.
Why
But
does
to
that
be more
cost that much?
precise, he said within about 6 years. So, mark your calendars, I guess. However, so far we've been preoccupied with
Coincidentally, 2027 is when the world was supposed to end in Terminator. So I'm just saying, could be possible.
whether or not we could, rather than whether or not we should. A few concerns
Freaky
have been
thick.
raised in regards to bringing back a mammoth. For one, elephants and mammoths are pretty social animals, so bringing back a few, or even just one, could be cruel for an animal that needs to be in a group. Some feel that all the time and money and other resources should be going into protecting endangered elephants instead. We also don't know if the embryo will survive or what a hybrid calf needs to have a healthy life. Are these things being accounted for? Well, you can read more about the plans on the Colossal website, which is pretty well designed, I have to say. Going through the pages, we can find out more about the plans to bring back a mammoth, such as, like apparently they are using African elephants to eliminate extra pressure on Asian elephants. According to the website, African elephants are threatened,
The
while
fuck?
Asian elephants are endangered. Aren't they both endangered? But also,
That seems
African
kind of
elephants are
racist, not
bigger,
gonna
so it
lie.
might be easier for one of them to deliver an embryo. But anyway, going back to whether or not we should, one of the reasons they list on the website
Oh,
for bringing back
baby?
the mammoth is to combat climate change. Apparently, when the mammoths went extinct thousands of years ago, a bunch of shrubs and plants grew over what was previously grassland. If the mammoths came back, they would trample shrubs, knock over trees, and fertilize the grass. Grassland might reflect more light and therefore keep the ground cooler. On the site, it also says the work could help save modern day elephants from extinction. Perhaps the technology of de-extinction could be used to bring back more species in the future, even species that are alive today that might go extinct in a few years. Hard to say, really. I wonder how many mammoths you need to make a serious dent in the grasslands. And also, I haven't seen this mentioned anywhere, but if the mammoths have large ivory tusks, will they need protection from poachers too?
If they have all those other methods that aren't feasible because like sperm dies out in 15 years or whatever, why would they not just be attempting this on endangered animals such as those elephants? It's weird to me that we're spending so much money, for whatever fucking reason, to try and get a mammoth instead of getting more animals that we have now and either cloning them or helping them produce more. I guess people don't see the value in helping those animals, because you can, like, you can make this into an attraction if you successfully clone a mammoth. All right, see y'all later.